Look at this Apple stock chart, and if a trader places a stop loss here, no wonder he's losing money. Because look at what happened. The price plummeted past the previous low, triggering the stop loss,
Well, no sense putting it off any longer. So, uh, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters in Islam. Welcome to yet another live stream of my channel, the Muslim Apologist, and I'm your host, MENJ. Yeah, unfortunately, we had to do this live stream again in changing times and unsettling developments, so to speak. First of all, I would like to just make a quick announcement of sorts, I guess. I'm actually just recovering from COVID-19. Yeah, I was tested positive several days ago. Of course, the first 3 days were really challenging for me, and you could feel the effects of the virus. And the worst part was actually not the effects of the virus per se, because fortunately I had my vaccine shots, both vaccine shots. So the effects for me were basically like a normal flu. But what uh, is telling and what is significant about this virus's effect on me was that it triggered my gout. So both my feet were suffering or were having the effects of gout flares at the same time. So imagine this, you having the flu, coughing, and then you have running nose at the same time. And while suffering from this, of course, these two normal, pretty much standard, common flu symptoms, you also cannot move around because both your feet are suffering from the pain from gout. Okay, so it's like two diseases combo into one. It's like if you've played a Street Fighter game, you will know what I mean by combo. So it's like a double whammy on your body. And yeah, it was very much a test for me, right? Especially for the first 3 days. Of course, I was never in any danger of going beyond anything more than that. Alhamdulillah, and of course I knew that. It's just that it was suffering. It was really suffering on earth, so to speak. Okay, but this, of course, was test upon me, and I believe that the worst has gone past. Okay, inshallah. So anyway, I'll just make this live stream very short because I don't intend to speak for long anyway. Because yeah, like I said, I'm just recovering from the effects of COVID-19. Plus, Maghrib is already upon me, so I only have about maybe at tops 45 minutes before we end the stream, of course. And this is a topic, of course. This is a topic that I intend to actually talk about or discuss about or have a discourse about ever since it began last week, which unfortunately I got hit with COVID-19 at the same time. It just had to happen, huh? So it's as though, as fate would have it, I was bedridden for most part of Putin's Rasputin crazy campaign upon the Ukraine, upon the independent state of Ukraine. um, this madman, Vladimir Putin, he probably thought that he now holds the flames of the new the new USSR. So for some reason, this old man thinks that he could bring Russia back to the glory days of the bygone era of the Soviet Union. Okay. Um, I have been watching the videos, the analysis, the reports online about what has been going on. So I had all the time in the world. Basically, I had nothing else or nothing better to do apart from that anyway. So that is what I have been doing. So anyway, before we go on further and I talk about this, of course, let's play, as usual, let's play the intro. So we're back again. For those who are watching, thank you very much for watching. I don't expect to have many viewers anyway because of my choice of of timing for the live stream. So it's all right. I don't mind talking to even an audience of 0. Okay, that's because that is not the point of me doing this live stream. The point of doing this live stream is to give an overview of what's currently happening in the Ukraine and what our action as Muslims should be towards it, as well as the apologetics view of it. Pretty much, yeah. So, but before I go to that, I did see some YouTube reaction videos or some Muslim commentary, basically, of the situation in Ukraine. Some of, actually not some, but most of the videos in these YouTube channels were actually very skeptical of what was going on in the Ukraine. Sadly, even in the comments, I saw some Muslims actually openly siding with the Russians. You know, they were saying like, "Go Vladimir Putin, go destroy NATO, US, etc." And all sorts of things which actually goes against our values as Muslims even. Okay. Um, and also I've seen some videos as well which tries to be neutral, and yet I do detect a very high sense of pessimism. Okay. I cannot buy into this idea of being pessimistic and trying to be neutral, you know, saying that this is a war between basically a war between disbeliever and disbeliever. We Muslims shouldn't be involved in it, etc. This is a fight between NATO, US, and Russia. So who cares, etc. For me as a Muslim, I cannot accept this. We should not accept this as a Muslim, because I believe that this war is an unjust war. Russia invaded first. Okay, regardless of the geopolitics. Yes, I'm aware of the geopolitics and the circumstances leading to this war. Okay, involving Russia and why Russia came to the decision to invade the Ukraine. Yet at the same time, we should not forget that women and children are dying in Ukraine because of this unjust uh, invasion. Okay, there's no other way to put it. It's just an invasion. It's an unjust invasion. Regardless who is involved. Let's say even if it's the UK invading Poland, or if it's Singapore invading Malaysia, or even if it's Saudi Arabia invading Egypt, even in all these scenarios, it should be condemned. The invader should be condemned, because we are a Muslim. We as Muslims are an ummah of principles. Okay, we are the ummatan wasatan. Okay, we are the ummah. We are the people who should be leading the way in terms of justice. And clearly, invading someone else's land is not just. Okay, what more when it is unprovoked, right? Because if, let's say, Ukraine were to invade Russia first, and then in self-defense, Russia invaded or invades Ukraine in return. If let's say that were the scenario, then yes, of course, Russia would have had our sympathies. Okay, but clearly, Russia was already amassing their army, their vast arsenal, and their apparatus and their assets, military assets along the border, in cooperation with Belarus, uh, another neighbor of Ukraine. So they were already working together even prior to the start of the war. And clearly they had all intentions of invading this country, which had done no harm to them apart from wanting to join uh, a, a military alliance or a political bloc. Okay. Of course, we can discuss, we can debate all day about the geopolitical significance of that and etc. But let's put that aside because that's not the point. Okay, the point is Russia invaded Ukraine. Therefore, it is clear that Ukraine is the victim here. So, as Muslims, why can't we show our support for the Ukraine? Since clearly Ukraine is the victim. Because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, to always stand for justice and to always strive for justice and to always side with something that is just, regardless whether um, the person being just is a disbeliever or not, at least in a certain context, right? So for me, it is clear that we should show our support to Ukraine. There are Muslims, in fact, in Ukraine. We know for a fact that there are Muslims in Ukraine. And yeah, and there are a lot of people actually currently suffering in Ukraine because of this sudden war that has come upon them. Of course, some were intelligent enough to realize that war was coming and they left the country weeks prior. Unfortunately, there were some, or there were many, who were caught unawares, and uh, basically it was on the day before the war. They were thinking of going to work the next day, and then when they woke up, war had already broke out. That was pretty much the how would I put it, the situation of the Ukrainians. So I would clearly side with the Ukrainians because I believe that the Ukrainians are not the party who are being unjust here. And it is my duty as a Muslim to side with those whom injustice has been done against them. Okay. And I feel that Muslims who don't openly state this, I don't understand why you cannot or would not openly side with the Ukraine, because I think only a blind man, in fact, I think a blind man can see that the Ukraine is being treated unjustly. Yeah. So, okay, going back to what I said just now about Muslims in the Ukraine. Yeah, I've been reading up a bit on the situation in the Ukraine, especially the 2014 Crimean War, where Russia uh, took over the Crimean Peninsula. In fact, my own family has a history with Ukraine because my sister was actually studying in Ukraine for several years. She was there for 6 years. Of course, she was studying in the Crimean part of the Ukraine. At the time, it wasn't annexed by Russia yet, so it was still, in fact, it is actually still considered part of the Ukraine. But at the time, it was still politically part of the Ukraine as well. So she was studying in this the State University of Crimea, I think, the Medical State University of Crimea or something like this. I don't recall the exact name. and she was based in Simferopol, I believe. This is the capital of Ukraine. It's of the Crimean Peninsula itself. So at the time, there was no conflict. There was no dispute. Putin hasn't gone crazy and had grandiose ideas. Okay, at the time, so things were relatively peaceful. Prior to her being sent to Ukraine, frankly, none of us had any idea what Ukraine is. We don't even know where Ukraine is. All we know is located somewhere in near Russia. So yeah, my sister was there for a good 6 years. Yeah. So basically the life there was very peaceful and very innocuous, and there was nothing to talk about because it was a very quiet country. Yeah, it was a very quiet country and it was very peaceful. None of the political BS that we see now. Okay. So I don't know much about what actually happened because we didn't really discuss about it much. Okay, but she did tell me that yes, there are Muslims in Crimea at the time when she was there. That is, this was in 2000. 2003, 2004. Between 2003 to 2000. I think 2009, I would say. Yeah, she returned here to Malaysia in 2008, 2009, right? So she did pick up Russian. She picked up Russian because Russian was still you could say that Russian is actually the language of communication in Ukraine at the time, regardless which area you're from. Regardless which part of Ukraine you're from, whether you're going to the Crimea or whether you're in the west or in the north, etc., you're still going to have to speak Russian. Basically, Russian was treated somewhat like how English is treated as a lingua franca, okay, in parts of the world, even in Southeast Asia. Okay, so this was how my sister went through her life in Ukraine, or I would say uh, to be exact, the Crimean Peninsula. And then, of course, 2014 came and Putin took over that peninsula. I still wasn't interested in the Ukraine much because, 2014, I had my own issues. I had my own personal issues to care about geopolitics, much to my regret now. Okay, but my circumstances were different. So anyway, fast forward 2018, 2019, I guess. Uh, I did read up a bit on the Ukraine, but still wasn't really interested in it. Okay, didn't really bother to know about what's happening in Ukraine until last month when Putin started to make threats against this peaceful or relatively quiet country. And the rest, as they say, is history. Okay. So, yeah. Anyway, the point I want to make is that right now, the Ukraine is clearly being invaded by the Russian army, by the crazy dictator Putin. As Muslims, we cannot stand by idly while saying, this is not our fight, we have nothing to pick. No, I refuse and I disagree with such sentiment because as Muslims, we should be at the forefront against injustice. As I've said earlier, any injustice that has been committed against a peoples, regardless whether those peoples are Muslims or not, we should be the people who defend against them. No matter whether the president is pro-Israeli or whether the president is Jewish himself, or etc., I don't give an F about that. That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is the country is suffering. There are women and children suffering. There are people suffering. And why are they suffering? Is because of the aggression by this madman, Vladimir Putin. Okay. I've seen the Western reaction to Putin. They're exerting pressure on him financially and economically. They are putting a strain on the ruble. The ruble was right up at the top in prices in its forex exchange, and I think it was on Thursday last week, and today it has gone down way below, like nowhere. Basically, the country has gone into hyperinflation. Okay, so I would say that may or may not be a good step. I don't know, but I don't think that would stop Rasputin. Oh, did I say Rasputin? No, I meant Putin. Okay, Putin. Okay, that will not stop Putin in his crazy uh, ambition to conquer the world, or whatever it is that he wants to achieve. I still don't understand what he actually wants to achieve from this, and I don't think I want to go into geopolitical analysis anyway, because that again, this is not the point of this live stream. Okay, the point of this live stream is to show my love and support for the people of Ukraine. As Muslims, or as a Muslim myself, I wholly declare my support for Ukraine. I stand with the Ukrainian people, and I wholly support them in their fight, in their struggle against the Russians, against their Russian invaders. Okay. Of course, we know that the Ukrainians are not Muslims. That's not the point. That is not the point at all. Okay. The point is to stand up for justice. Russia has done an injustice. They invaded a relatively peaceful country. Okay. Without provocation. Okay. It is not the Ukraine which fired shots from Kiev into Moscow. Okay. It is not Ukraine which shot bullets, or fired artillery, or sent missiles from Mariupol into St. Petersburg. No, none of that happened. In fact, it was the other way around. Okay. So because of this, I will stand with Ukraine, because Ukraine is clearly the victim here. Okay, that is my point. Okay, so I don't want to go into geopolitics, because, like I said, I have absolutely no interest to talk about geopolitics. I don't give a shit. I don't give an F whether Ukraine is pro-Israeli, whether Ukraine is pro-US, whether Russia is pro China, whether China sides with Russia, etc. That is not, again, that is not the point of this discourse. That is probably a different forum for another time, right? The point here is we must stand with our brothers and sisters in humanity, the Ukrainians. As Muslims, we are obliged to, as Muslims, to stand with the those who have been committed, or who has clearly been discriminated against. Okay, which clearly an act of injustice has been committed against. Okay, so yeah, so I guess that is all I have to say. Well, now let's talk about the apologetics part. Okay, of course I'm going to talk about the apologetics part, because I am the because I am the Muslim apologist, right? So what kind of Muslim apologist am I if I'm not going to talk about the apologetics part? So I believe that of course Putin is motivated by his Christian beliefs. He's clearly motivated and probably not instructed by the church, but definitely endorsed by the church, the Russian Orthodox Church. Okay. if you read the history a bit several years back, the Archbishop, sorry, I don't know whether the term Archbishop is correct, probably Pope would be more accurate. The Pope of Constantinople, or basically the Orthodox Church in the Byzantine Church, in the head of the Byzantine Church in Istanbul. Okay, he proceeded over the split of the Orthodox Church in Ukraine, the split of the Orthodox Church in Ukraine from the Russian Orthodox Church in Moscow. Okay, because previously both these churches were considered to be one under the Moscow Orthodox Church or the Russian Orthodox Church. But because of the, I believe because of the Putin invasion of 2014 involving the Crimean Peninsula, therefore the Orthodox Church requested that, I mean in the one in Ukraine, requested that they be split from the Moscow Church and be govern their own, have their own body, so to speak. And this part, thank you, brother Oliver. Yeah, Patriarch Bartholomew of Istanbul or Constantinople. They still use the name Constantinople. Okay, so Patriarch Bartholomew of Constantinople, he approved of this split. So there is some sort of bad blood still between the Orthodox Church in Ukraine, and the Orthodox Church in Russia, or the Russian Orthodox Church. Okay, so you can't say that this war has no religious motives. I believe it does, of course. Okay, there's no concrete proof. I don't have concrete proof. But if you were smart enough, intelligent enough to read the history, to analyze the history as I have, because let's not forget, I was bedridden for several days. Thank you, COVID. So because of COVID, I was bedridden for several days. I analyzed the issue. I read up the notes. I read up the articles. I had ample time to analyze the situation. And I've come to the conclusion that the Russian Orthodox Church is definitely, one of them is definitely the reason why Putin had the willpower or the gusto or the bravery or the buoyancy or the push, the motivation to invade the Ukraine. Okay, so I believe that is one also of the reasons as well. Okay, like I said, I have no real proof, but if anyone were to do the research that I did, you can come to the same conclusion yourselves. And I urge you to do that. Just read up the history between the Orthodox Church in the Ukraine as well as the Orthodox Church in Russia and the events leading to their split. Okay, and of course, read up also on Putin's behavior towards the Russian Orthodox Church, especially in the last 7 to 10 years. Okay, you will find that he's very chummy with the church. Okay, and there are reasons for it. Okay, but essentially, is this: this war is not just politically motivated; it's also religiously motivated, and it is the religion of love that inspired Putin to do this. So you cannot say that this religion has no, this war has no religious motives. There are religious motives behind it. So I see that there are a lot of comments. I'm surprised that there are comments because I'm actually already up to 40 minutes. I really don't want to speak for too long because I'm still recovering from COVID. And if I were to bring to this live stream to its usual 2-hour session, it will be too long and it will tire me out. Okay. But anyway, I think I'll just read through the comments, I guess, since most of you are already here. Surprisingly, thank you, guys, by the way, for joining my live stream. I honestly, truly did not expect that there will be 6 viewers right now watching my live stream. Oh, he has dropped to 5. Okay, 5 viewers right now on my live stream. MashaAllah, I honestly did not expect this because I just wanted to record this live and that's it. Okay. If for those of you, if you play back the earlier part of this video, in fact, you'll find that there's a little Easter egg that I played, a music that I played from in the beginning that was supposed to be a kind of an in-house joke. Okay, personal in-house joke. So anyway, I'll just read the comments before I wrap this up, right? So let me see now. Thank you, Aki. Yes, of course, of course. As I have communicated to you in our conversation, I'm feeling much better now. Alhamdulillah. I just wanted to feel more like myself. That is why I decided to do this live stream. Okay. Let me see now. The Muslim Tatars did not approve or vote for Crimea joining Russia. They are against Russia but have no power. I hope Russia treats them well. The communists ruined the Tatar Muslim. Yes, you are right. You are right. The Tatars never, the Tatar Muslims in the Crimea state never agreed to the split from Ukraine. Actually, they never wanted to be part of Russia even. In fact, the reason why they are in Crimea is because they wanted to escape Russia, but in the end, they get caught up in it. As for the fate of the Crimean Tatars, I don't really have the facts at hand, but I've read in a few comments. I don't know whether they're true or false, but some people have been commenting that some Crimean Tatars actually moved to the mainland Ukraine to escape the Russians soon after the invasion of or the annexation of the Crimean state. Okay, so I don't know how much of that is true. So uh, I guess you need to do your own fact checking. And inshallah, once I'm feeling better, I want to, of course, look this up as well because uh, the history of Crimea and the Ukraine, or the history of Muslims in the Ukraine and Crimea, is something I've overlooked all this while. And this is another interesting information actually that I would like to share with everyone. In that during the Ottoman era, parts of what we now know as Ukraine, and including the Crimean state, were under Ottoman rule. Okay, and the Russians were explicitly told to lay off these areas because it was under the protection of the Ottomans. In fact, the Crimean state, as we know now, was under a Khaganate. Okay, I think just need to Google this up. Before it was annexed by Imperial Russia, this Khaganate was actually very powerful because it was protected by the Ottomans. They are actually an independent state, Khaganate, but they fall under the protection of the Ottomans. Yeah. So there is a Muslim history, okay, in the Ukraine. Yeah. This brother here says Ukraine has a Nazi brigade in the army, plus there are Muslims in Russia. We don't have a bone in this. Like I said, regardless of what the history is in the Ukraine in the past, we cannot deny that right now Russia is the aggressor. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't matter whether the Ukraine were evil or whether the Ukraine had sent Muslims to the gas chambers in the past, or whether the Ukraine mistreated the Muslims badly. That is not the point. Today we witness the Russian aggression against Ukraine, and as Muslims we must stand firm against this injustice. That is all I'm saying. Please don't involve history into this, because this is not the point. Okay, we are taught to fight against injustice when we see it. We are not taught to judge people even though an injustice has been committed against them, and to waver on or to debate on whether we should help them or not, because the Quran says, if you see an injustice committed against them, strive to protect them. So why are we discussing whether they are being uh, they did that in the past, therefore we shouldn't help them now, or they were like this before, they were doing this before, they were like this before, or they were like this before, or they were nasty before, so is it our obligation to help them? Why are we questioning this? Because an injustice is being committed against them. I think no one can deny this. Okay, right? So that is all I'm saying. Okay, that is all I'm saying. Right? We are siding with the unjust. That is all. That is my point. Okay, and then we have Rasendria. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm starting to feel a bit weak here, so I'm going to have to wrap this up very quick. Putin is finished. He suffered too much losses in the military and the world. Even Russia is set on killing him. I hope so, but I think he knows. I think Putin is a smart man. He's an intelligent man. He knows what he's doing has consequences. So I believe that even in the worst case scenarios were to befall him, he would have a plan, unfortunately, because he's that intelligent. He's not an idiot. Okay, I mean, the guy is the president of Russia for several years, and he did not become president for nothing, right? For no reason, right? So he's a Machiavellian. So you have to be aware of this. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Again, that is all I'm saying. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me take this comment. The communists actually wanted to destroy all religions except their atheism. Yeah, that's pretty much true as well, because communism can never coexist with religion. Okay, at the very least, they must try to suppress it. Okay, even though if they seem to want to tolerate it, like communist China. Okay, um, even though that may seem to be so, right? But they will always have make attempts, state sanctioned attempts to how would I put it, to diminish the influence of religion, because in the end all they want is to elevate their state ideology, and in order to elevate the state ideology, all other competing ideologies, including religion, must be eliminated. Yeah, this is basically it. It's a zero-sum game for communists. Okay, so it's no surprise there. Okay, right. So anyway, yeah, it's almost 50 minutes of me talking. uh, I guess that is all I have to say. Actually, I wanted to say a lot more, but yeah, for me right now, Maghrib is upon me, and I must commit to my Maghrib prayers. Okay. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me. Alhamdulillah, I guess I just wanted to show myself to the world, and show that I'm well, that I'm recovering from COVID-19. Okay. If you have taken your vaccine shots, then you shouldn't have a problem going through this disease, inshallah. Okay. COVID is not something that you want to go through. All right. So anyway, I guess I'll just wrap this up, and inshallah I'll see you again in a future video. I'm supposed to actually just a short announcement right before I go. I'm actually supposed to upload a edited video of my interview with brother Firdaus Chia of Shah Herald, but yeah, because of COVID, so I didn't quite get to edit his video yet. Also another short announcement. I've actually managed to. This was before I was hit by COVID. Okay, I successfully managed to interview Dr. Joseph E.B. Lumbard. We had a discussion about the compilation of the Quran, his history, and revisionist studies concerning the Quran and our responses to that. So you can look out for that interview later on, inshallah. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I think I blabbered too much, and I'm feeling exhausted. Yeah, I'm feeling exhausted. I'm sorry because of I think it's because of the virus too. Otherwise, I think I could have got this going. You know how my live streams. I mean, for those of you who have joined my live streams before, you know that I can blab for hours. But anyway, I think that is all for now. Thank you very much for joining me. Inshallah, I'll see you again in a future live stream. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.